Thank you for staying with us on the AM show. It's all about making Accra clean. It's an analysis of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign. Joining us for this discussion, Florence Kuchi, AMA Public. She is with the AMA Public Health Directorate, and there's Emmanuel Adai, who is a wash expert, who joins us for this all-important conversation as we analyze basically what we've been doing so far and what the effect really has been. We'll be interacting with both of them. If we have Florence and Emmanuel, a very good morning to both of you. Thank you for joining the conversation this morning.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting us. Good morning to all your viewers.
Great.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us.
I love the smile on your face, Florence, and I've seen you in action out there doing the do. When you're in action, the people don't see you smiling like you're smiling at us this morning. In fact, you get a lot of them very hot. Tell me, what is your secret?
It's the passion.
The passion for the work. And,
yes.
And even when you step out there and they are resisting you and it's getting all feisty out there, you still stand your ground. How do you manage that?
You know, as a public health worker, dealing with the public, you must know how to react to the public. Sometimes the best form of defense is attack. So when they are attacking, you just have to stay back and then re-strategize and come in. That has been our secret, yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you this. We've had quite a number of encounters, as you have helped us on this drive, the Joy Clean Ghana campaign. We've gone to slaughterhouses. We've gone to many different places which ought to be cleared up. We've gone to public toilet facilities and all of that. So far, when you look at the Joy Clean Ghana campaign and what work has been done on the back of COVID and pausing and coming back, what would you say has been the real impact of the campaign out there as you've hit the streets?
In fact, Joy Clean Ghana campaign have really brought a positive impact into the general behavior and attitude towards sanitation. Environmental health officers have always since been on the ground. But this time around, Joy Clean Ghana, one of our main motives is to name and shame sanitation offenders in public. So when people are caught on camera violating sanitation rules, they stand up and they see the need not to do it, or they see the need to do the right thing. So Joy Clean Ghana campaign has really been a very good source of help when it comes to sanitation awareness in the public out there.
Right. And let me just ask you this right before I cross over to Mr. Adai. We know that one of the key areas when it comes to sanitation, a lot of people would be unwilling to do the right thing. So far, some of those who have been, found culpable, what has been the action taken on them from those in the slaughterhouses who were given second opportunities, third opportunities to do the right thing, for those managing some of these public toilet facilities, for those whose environment has been unkempt and all of that. So far, how have these people been dealt with as far as the law is concerned?
Yeah, talking about the slaughter slab, the following morning, they organized and then the whole place was cleaned up. The medical screening lab service personnel, they moved a lab there to screen all the people who are slaughtering over there. Talking about the public toilet, summons has been issued to them. We went to court last week, Friday, and we pleaded with court, we want to demolish the toilet. So we are waiting for court to give us the order for the toilet to be demolished so that if a new one can be built, it will be built. Because looking at the toilet, it is a pit, a pan latrine. And they have latrine. And it is a designated area that is posing health hazard to people who are using it. So during all the places we have visited, they have all done the right thing. Those that we have given the summons, some have corrected the issues. Those that have not corrected, so far we've sent 3 persons to court from last from the first starting of second phase of Clean Ghana till date.
Right. So that makes for interesting analysis. I'll be coming back to you shortly, but let me now interact with Emmanuel Adai, who is a water sanitation and hygiene expert. From your standpoint, looking at the goals of the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, what we have revealed thus far, what has been going on in the system, how important would you say it is that we've embarked on this campaign and that in fact we're exposing the sort of things we're seeing?
Yeah, I think, first of all, I want to commend Joy News and the AMA for embarking on this exercise, because we've always been calling for law enforcement in this country. Honestly speaking, many MMDAs are quite shy about enforcing the law and forcing people to do the right thing. So I am always very happy about the way Joy News and the AMA have taken on this task to let people know that what they are doing is bad and is affecting everybody around them. So yes, I commend them, and I wish all MMDAs also embark on this. I want to commend Florence in particular. Florence, how are you? For being so bold and always going about this campaign. It is quite scary. I once watched one of their videos with somebody, I think a public toilet attendant, threatening them and so on and so forth, but then they keep going. I think it is a very commendable exercise. But what I want to suggest is that it's not enough. I think all media stations should join forces with all MMDAs also doing the same. And the shaming alone may not be enough. They have to be punished, and the penalty units, I think, should be increased, because sometimes maybe the fines are not enough or the imprisonment are not enough, and they are not deterrent enough. And also the publicity, when people are caught, the publicity should be more. Apart from the events being shown maybe live or maybe being shown on TV, aspects could also be captured in subsequent news items for the publicity to go, so that the shame will be widespread to scare more people away.
Okay, I'll come right back to you, Mr. Adai, with a follow-up, but I'd like you to respond to that, Florence. So, per Mr. Adai, he is proposing that there be stiffer penalties for those who would be found, complicit in some of these actions that are not supposed to be seen, these actions that actually flout the law, and that the penalty units and all of that should be increased. There should be stiffer punishment for them. What is your take? Do you agree? Florence, are you with us?
Has been one of our main issues we've been encountering. Of late, when you look at our bylaws and some of the state laws that we use in the prosecutions, the penalty unit on sanitation is so meager. The highest one can pay will not reach up to 2,000. The least one can pay is about 100 cedis. And people pay these monies and come back to continue in the same situation. So I think we need to review our laws in sanitation aspect. Then the penalty action will be very high. So when people pay a lot, or when people serve a lot at the prison centers and come back, they will know that sanitation is something that they are not supposed to play with. Always I say, sanitation is also a criminal activity. Why do I say that? Because through your actions or inaction, and you throw something into a drain, when it rains, the rainwater will wash all the waste to a place and the drain is blocked. It will lead to flooding, and this flooding can lead to people losing their lives and livelihood. Somebody going to use a gun to shoot somebody, we see the person physically, but you have done it in a way that people may not bring their mind towards it, but it is all criminality. So I think the way the punitive measures we are tied to people who kill, who rob, who do other things, the same measures should be attached to sanitation issues, so that people really take sanitation issues very seriously in this country.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head, Florence. But the question is, as the AMA, you have certain responsibilities in this regard. Are you then going to push for legislation? I mean, are you going to spearhead what you're saying now? Because if the AMA itself decides that, well, we need stiffer penalties and we need to take a second look at our law books when it comes to sanitation, is this something that you would push maybe for the legislation to be brought to bear on that matter? Is it something the AMA will push?
Yes, in fact, very soon we'll be reviewing our bylaw 2017. And on the bylaw 17, when we are reviewing it, we are going to ensure that penalty measures attached to sanitation issues is really going to push high to deter people from violating sanitation rules.
Let me come back to Mr. Adai. And I know you're fully aware of the situation when it comes to constraints in terms of even access to potable water across the country. But in terms of sanitation and hygiene, how bad really is the situation? We've seen part of the picture as, you know, the Joy Clean Ghana campaign has highlighted on our television screens. But how bad, from where you sit, is the situation? And why is it crucial that we do this at this point in time to expose some of these things?
Yeah, if you ask me how bad, I would say very bad, especially in our urban areas. In the rural communities, generally their issue, their main problem is opentification. But even over there, because of the vast land around them, probably sometimes the impact is not very widespread. But then in urban areas where we have the population density is quite high. That is where we have the problem, and it is everywhere in all the regions. But I think, yeah, it is timely because especially during the rainfall, that is where the impact is more severe because of poor drainage. You know, people will go and defecate maybe uphill or upstream somewhere, and then because of the rains, they are washed into people's compounds and other open spaces, and that is where the spread of diseases begin. So if you ask me, I would say yes, it is widespread. There's no place or no region in Ghana where we say there are no sanitation issues. And people simply blatantly flout the law because, as Florence said, the penalty units are not they are not punitive enough. And sometimes you even have a lot of influential people also stepping in to intervene or interfere with the legal process. So you see maybe politicians or chiefs or religious leaders, opinion leaders, assembly members, chiefs, trying to just intervene on behalf of their friends or family members who have been caught by the law. And those behaviors are also very, very, very bad. And then some of the assemblies, because of that, even don't want to go into prosecution at all, because you go through all the processes, sometimes quite expensive. Even going to arrest somebody, you may have to pay for fuel or even hire a car for the police to go and arrest that person. It's expensive, and yet they don't know how much they are going to even earn from it. Many assemblies have not been able to gazette their bylaws because of the cost involved. And if they have not gazetted their bylaws and they are going to use the public health law, all the monies that will accrue over there will go straight into the consolidated fund. It doesn't come to the assembly. So why should I spend on something? And if there's even some returns on it, it goes straight into the national coffers. So they are not even bothered so much to embark on enforcement. And again, because of policy, the nature of our politics, if you are, let's say, a GCE and you want to pursue people of sanitation offenders here and there, during election time, they may also pay you back because you are threatening them. So some of them, for the sake of political expediency, they don't want to go into prosecution at all. And these are all issues that are widespread across the length and breadth of the country. And I think it is not only for MMDAs to deal with it. We have to deal with it from the top. If Parliament actually steps up, the legal processes like the formulation of laws to support, I think it will be a national issue that assemblies will also take up.
So, in other words, per what you're saying, the metropolitan assemblies themselves are not being incentivized enough, and action ought to be taken on that as well to ensure that they are willing to do certain things.
Exactly, because one, if they are not earning a lot of revenue from it, they are not too keen to do that because they have a lot of areas to invest their efforts and their monies in. And two, if enforcement is going to affect somebody's political fortunes, why would that person go in? Those are the issues on the ground.
Now, the bigger picture can be seen in the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically 11, which talks about, sustainable cities and communities. And across the world, cities are evaluated based on their sanitation, how hygienic they are, access to water, and all of that. Ghana has its own goals feeding into. How much more work do you feel we ought to be doing? Because it appears that it's quite a hurdle we have to scale.
Yeah, that's the right one. It's a big hurdle because if you tell me to rate, I don't even know how to rate it because from open defecation to drainage to solid waste management to everything, we seem to be lacking. Though this year, luckily, probably the flooding has not been very, very scary as it used to be. Probably some of the big drainage systems have been dredged or so. But then, my worry is, why should it not be a once and for all solution? Why don't we invest in solving the problem once and immediate solutions, short-term solutions, and then we forget about it then? That is the problem. Otherwise, I would say in terms of drainage, we are not going anywhere. Every time the drains are choked, we still keep on constructing open drains. People keep on throwing rubbish everywhere. And open defecation doesn't seem to be changing very fast because it was 22%. I learned this year, the new figures have come, it has dropped to about 19% or so. We are still very, very high. So looking at the SDGs by 2030, which is just about 8.5 or 9 years away, I don't think we are even up to 30% close to our target. And the target is there is any way that we are going to have a clean city by 2030.
Right. Madam Kuchi, now there's also this bit about, what Mr. Adai was speaking of a short while ago, about the influencers. Sometimes you're even trying to do your work and maybe a chief or opinion leader or some prominent person tries to intervene on behalf of someone who has been found culpable. Is that a major problem you faced in this campaign in terms of ensuring that people are doing the right thing?
Thank you so much. For Clean Ghana campaign issue, when it comes to even the technocrats on sanitation, a lot of people think that environmental officers, gone were the days, they call them the Sanasame, are not more there. But I keep telling people, myself talking here, I am a chief Sanasama. We are in the ground, we are on the ground, we are working. But the issue is, we are hanging. That is where the problem becomes. When you can't trace us and meet us at any, at national level. When you go to Ministry of Sanitation, a lot of people think that the environmental health officers are under Ministry of Sanitation. Meanwhile, we are not under Ministry of Sanitation. Now, others think that we are under the local government. We are not under the local government. So where is the environmental health office? Head is. Who is at the head to spearhead?
A bit to see whether the connection with Florence can be better. Of course, it's always tricky doing Zoom. So while she attempts to reconnect, Florence Kuchi, we shall await your reconnection. Hopefully the network will be better so we can hear from you on that. But a very important point that she was making there in terms of the technocrats and even where to place what. At a point in time, that becomes difficult and it impedes the work when it comes to sanitation and hygiene in our cities.
The technocrats themselves, by the institutions that we have, the current institutional arrangement is not favoring, as you rightly said. The environmental health and sanitation, even before she said, I even thought they were under the Ministry of Local Government, but she just said, no, that one, maybe I also love to hear more about that. But all along, I thought they were under the Ministry of Local Government within the MMDAs. But this is why some of us in the sector actually campaigned a lot for institutional restructuring. And I think this culminated in the established sanitation department directorate over there. They don't have any links to the district assemblies, as she just said, because the environmental health officers at the assemblies are not under them. So then there's a big broken link over there. That is why we've been clamoring for a dedicated sanitation authority that can reach the ground. They will still work through the district assemblies, all right. But at the moment, if you are, let's say, the director of sanitation at the Ministry of Sanitation and Water Resources, yet you don't have any subordinates on the ground, how do you ensure that your policies and your 17 in about last 2 years during the Mole Water and Sanitation Conference, the Vice President himself came to reaffirm that commitment. Of course, yet it's getting to 2 years. We don't know how much has been done about it. We only hear that the consultations are still ongoing. I think it's taking too long because look at, let's say, Ministry of Health. They have so many authorities, services here and there. Excuse me to say, in Ghana, we have a National Lotteries Authority. So I don't see what is wrong with establishing a National Sanitation Authority. But sometimes when you speak about this, some people don't really understand. It is not trying to undermine the decentralization process, but at least we want systems to work. If Florence goes to the Ministry of Sanitation, who is she going to? Because she doesn't report to that ministry.
Right.
If the minister develop all policy, I mean, these are some of the reasons why we've been asking for a minister, a dedicated directorate or an agency, whether it is an authority or agency for sanitation, so that there could be a unified and harmonized command system that will let information flow or command flow from the top to the bottom, and also information to Water and Sanitation Agency. And there's also I think the hydrology department and so on. They are all there as units under one directorate. But then when it comes to sanitation, they don't have anybody beneath them to support them to implement their policies.
All right, let me go back to Florence. You were making a point. I would have you wrap up on the point, and maybe you can add on to it. Be the go-to agency when it comes to your work to facilitate it. What are your thoughts, Florence? Hello, can you hear me, Florence Kuchi? Maybe you'd have to unmute. If you've unmuted, then we should be able to hear you. Great. Please go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yes, centralized system. The Environmental Health Office is under a department that has not been decentralized. It's a unit under a department that has not been decentralized. A department that their resources doesn't pass through Ministry of Local Government or local government service. So how do we get resources? So it's high time the policymakers sit down and then restructure. They should restructure the system to ensure that things are working. Other than that, sanitation act in a yardstick or a fiasco. If you don't restructure, and then everybody, you go to Ministry of Health.
Hello, Madam Kuchi, if you can hear me, I think we may...
There are a lot of agencies under Ministry of Health. We don't even know where we are. Right ahead.
And that is a major problem. I'd like to draw your mind to this issue. The last time, I just want to know what progress has been made in that regard. The last time we checked, there were a lot of these meat sellers who were without the proper certificates at the London market, over 300. When we purchase from them, can we be sure of the safety of these products?
Yes, for now, we can purchase for them because the lab technicians have gone there to take them through the screening. They are yet to receive their cards. By next week, their cards will be ready. So we've taken them through the screening.
Okay. So yeah. Moving the conversation forward, the technocrats and how they may not be helping the system. And you've spoken about, well, the stubbornness of some people out there. But as we expose these in the Joy Clean Ghana campaign, I'm sure we'll get, we'll be able to reverse the negativity. But the bit is, so far, looking at all that we've mentioned, what are the solutions we should be looking at cleaner? What should we be doing, Madam Kuchi?
What I think we should be doing is we need a holistic support. We need the public to support the technocrats on the ground. We need the opinion leaders to detach from the technocrats on the ground for them to undertake their duties. Because when an environmental officer takes somebody to court, You serve the person a summons, you will not even get to the office, and a
call will come from whom?
A call will come from an opinion leader, either a political head, an assembly member. You should withdraw the summons. And my brother, when you withdraw that such a summons from that community, you cannot go back there to work because it has what will I say, cut down your morality. You don't have the moral right to even go there again because you've been disgraced. You will go there and work and nobody will listen to you. Our last resort in sanitation is the law enforcement taking the person to court. And here is the case, just as my brother rightly said, there are some assemblies, they are even refusing to even go to court. And some people have even instructed that I don't want you to send people to court. We have some assemblies like that. And if you want, just contact me. I can give you some of these assemblies that they have instructed officers in those assemblies that they should not send cases to court again. Why? Because they think that there is something that is bringing their influential or their popularity down, which is very bad, until we can give work to a private entity, a private waste collector. But if the environmental health officer is not there to help the private waste collector to do the work, it will not go on properly. So we need help from both the government and both the general. Thank you.
Okay, but on that very point you made, it is contrary to the law if an assembly member or some bigwig decides to say that in my community or in my area, you people shouldn't operate because you're making me unpopular. It's criminal, actually. And I think you ought to be naming and shaming such people as well, not just on the side, but we need to know when.
Yes, that is one of the things. But the issue is there are some areas, if they say no and you continue to do it, they will transfer you from where you are to a place. They'll go and manipulate for them to take you from where you are. For my area, I don't have that problem. I'm not facing it. But there are other MMDAs that officers are facing this very seriously. They will transfer you within a twinkle of an eye to a different place. And when you go there and you still want to continue, you will never be stable. That is why I'm saying we need the support from the policymakers and support from the general so that we can do our work. We know it's illegal. Some of us, we can do that, but others may not be able to do it because we are not the same. Even when you go to some assemblies and you see offices of environmental health officers, my brother, you will not even turn and look at it again. So you come and meet me sitting in a deplorable office on a bench. How do I come out and tell you to clean your place?
But let's wrap on our conversation. We had to break the news to you. Let's wrap on our conversation on cleaning Ghana. Florence Kuchi, if you're with us, I know there was a point you were making, so I'll just have both of you do this very briefly for us. Your summary comments at the end of this discussion on the way forward. I know you started with that, Florence, if you can end with it.
Yeah, okay. So the summary is, as I said earlier on, we need the media support, we need the policymaker support and the general support. There are so many assemblies. If other media can also hang up or hook up with any of the assemblies and they also start that, so that every day people keep seeing it, people keep watching this thing on screen. It shouldn't be just only AMA and Joy News.
Right.
Other assemblies hook on, so that we all try these things to name and shame sanitation offenders on the screen, and things may change. Thank you.
And we'll be reaching out to you for some of those names, like you mentioned, on the side, so we can actually pursue it from there. Mr. Adai, what would be your concluding comments on this discussion?
Yeah, I would suggest two main things that we have to do as a country. One is to be very serious with sanitation. We should make it a national development issue. It can even be a national security issue, because if we don't declare that we want to, if we don't make a declaration that we want to, take our sanitation from this level to that level by this time, there's nothing we can do. There should be a clear national development plan for sanitation before we can achieve anything. And number two, discipline. You can see a society that thrives on individual selfishness will never develop, because we are many and individuals always want to be selfish. That is why we have laws and regulations to bring harmony in the society so that we can develop as one body. We have all the laws, every district has the bylaws, we have all the laws at the national level. What is left is the will to implement? If we feel shy to implement, people will always have their way because people naturally are selfish. Individuals are naturally selfish. Let us use the law and apply them. Let's allow the law to work. You see, sometimes some of us over-criticize. Somebody has offended. Open defecation is an offense. Littering is an offense. If you want to take on that person, you get people also comparing that kind of offense with, let's say, a murder case or a theft elsewhere. Every offense is offense. Let us met out the law to whoever deserves it.
Right.
So let us be disciplined. Let's ensure and enforce discipline on the people. And also let us invest critically in sanitation, as we are trying to do for electrification, for free SHS, for agriculture. Let us also see sanitation as a pillar for national development and invest in it accordingly. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Adai. Thank you, Madam Kuchi, first of all, for joining us for the conversation and also for your patience as we broke the news on that story. Emmanuel Adai is a WASH expert. Florence Kuchi is with the AMA Public Health Directorate. They joined us on that conversation. We take a break. When we return on the AM show, we'll bring you much more. Do stay.